Hey, Cousin Jack here with another episode of Woodcarving Weekly. And this week we have big news. The secret is out, and I'll be sharing that with you today. Also, we'll have a follow-up on the DMT Diamond Wave Sharpener. I turn to you, our viewers, to find out more about that, and you came through. We'll share some information and a follow-up today. We'll also spin around YouTube today and show you some carving videos and what's happening out there. And just a reminder, folks, all the resources that I mentioned here today will be linked in the description right below the video, and then also in the comments section a little bit further down on the page below this video. Let's get started. Well, today we have some major news from the Flexcut Tool Company. This news just broke a couple of days ago. It was only on Instagram, so if you're not over there, you may have missed it. Flexcut says they're going to introduce a new Pro series of knives, and these are going to be flat grind knives with a different handle altogether. They posted this picture and gave us a sneak peek. And here's what they wrote. Flexcut is working on something new. Flexcut's new Pro series, a collection of flat grind knives with a mirror finish, coming this fall. Well, you know, I have a Flexcut KN13. I have a collection, of course. And I put a flat grind on it years ago with a mirror finish too. What's going to be different in these new knives? Well, in their post, one of the readers asked a question about what they were seeing in the image. What are these? And Flexcut responded with the following information. They say the Pro Series knives include a 1-inch chip carving knife, a 1 3/8 inch detail knife, and a 2-inch roughing knife. Our new handle features flat sidewalls, bold facets, and curves in just the right places. We remove bulk from under the blade to eliminate the interference on tight cuts. So let's talk about that a little bit. This is an example of the bulk underneath the blade. There's probably a good 1/4 inch of wooden handle here that can get in the way. And so many times, knife makers will remove that bulk from underneath the blade. So it seems like the Pro Series knives will be more like maybe the OCC tool knives, with a flatter profile on the handle and of course a flat grind on the blade. Let me know what you think about this. These are going to be coming out this fall, and so we've got a little bit of time to wait. Are you interested? Is this something you might want to buy? Use the comments section below and let me know what you think. Well, I want to give you a sneak peek today too. Next week, we're going to go back to the future. That's right, we're going to time travel. I'm going to take you back in time to the Little Shavers website. Now, many of you know and have seen the Little Shavers website in the past. It was full of resources like free carving patterns and also information about how to make your own knife from a vintage straight razor, like I made this one, using those instructions. Well, the Little Shavers website went down a couple of years ago, and for most people that means they can't use those resources anymore, but I'm going to show you how you can do that. Stay tuned for the next episode, and by the way, do me a favor. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you see that red square? It's right down there in the corner. Click on the red square and subscribe to the channel. You won't miss a thing. Well, last week we talked a little bit about the DMT Diamond Wave Sharpener, and I mentioned that I had a really difficult time researching and finding any useful information that was current, any sort of product review to share about the Diamond Wave. So I reached out to our viewers, and you came through. Here's what one of our viewers, Eric, shared about his experience researching the DMT Diamond Wave. Eric says, "Hello Jack, about a year ago I came across the DMT Wave while researching sharpening methods. The thing I disliked just seeing the picture was the changing curve. There's only one full point of contact for every tool, so I mailed the store to find out more. They had the one in stock for years and never sold a single piece. Like you, I found no useful information and didn't want to spend the money on it. Still, don't see it as an upgrade to my leather-covered dowels to strop the inside of a gouge and the straight sharpening stone to hone the bevel. Hope there are viewers with more info." Well, later I heard from another viewer, Musically Lucid, who said that they actually have the DMT Diamond Wave, and here's what they had to share about it. I have a DMT Wave. I've had it about 6 months. I don't really care for it for maintaining tools, but for fixing a damaged edge, it's a pretty nice piece. So I said to them, I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts about the DMT Wave. Do you find that the abrasive surface is suited more for removing lots of metal? And he says, I have the fine grit and could definitely stand to have something more coarse. But right now, I only see them selling the fine and extra fine. However, the fine at least helps to make a more consistent primary bevel with fewer muscle memory problems. Personally, this is what I've struggled with most when fixing a carving gouge. So it's a benefit to me. So there you go. Some information from Eric and from Charles. Thank you both. These tools, these DMT Diamond Waves, are expensive. So it's helpful to have information before you go out and shop for one. Well, the International Association of Woodcarvers has a brand new video. They started their summer series, and this first episode features Rick. He's a carver from Edinburgh, Scotland in the UK. Now, Rick is online and goes by the title Scarecrow Woodcrafts, and he's been carving for about 5 years. For his living, he's a musical busker. In other words, a street performer who sings songs for people. And he does some wood carving. He travels around quite a bit, and in this video he shares his experience, what introduced him to carving in the first place, and he talks about his carving journey, which is ongoing. He talks about some of his travels to places like the US, and he's originally from Italy, so he's been around a little bit. He does a lot of figure carving, and you'll see some of his carvings during the presentation. He also shares some information about some of the things he enjoys besides carving and music. Overall, it's a nice introduction to Rick, and I think you'll enjoy it. Go and check out the IAWC, International Association of Woodcarvers. They have lots and lots of content there for you. Well, Jordy Johnson over at the Carving Fusion YouTube channel has a brand new video, and he's testing out a new carving burr that's come out from Dremel. And Dremel has released this new burr that looks very much like one of the Kutzall burrs, and Jordy does a little side-by-side comparison with the Kutzall Extreme Flame Burr. He says it's pretty much the same size and shape, but the materials and how they're made are not the same. So Jordy takes the Dremel burr for a little test drive. He's going to carve a succulent plant holder out of a piece of root wood that's really tough, he says, to carve. So in the video, he shows you how well this new burr performs. And he also gives you his opinion. Now, one of the things you can count on when it comes to Jordy is that he keeps it real. He's going to give you his honest opinion about all the product reviews that he does. And he's done quite a few. So if you're interested in the new carving burr from Dremel, and you want to see someone carving a succulent plant holder, this is a video for you. Go over to Carving Fusion and say hi to Jordy. In the new video from Van Kelly, he's talking about why you should buy quality tools and avoid cheap tools. And during this demonstration, he's carving a face. And along the way, he takes some of his quality tools and then also some of the questionable tools made with questionable steel and shows you the difference, not only in how well they carve, but also he mentioned safety as a factor. Because with those questionable tools, you very often have to push harder to make a cut, and that's where safety can be an issue. Van carves some of the eyes and parts of the nose, and he talks about the issues that many new carvers encounter. When they're getting started, they may not know that the cheap tools could be very, very difficult for any carver, including someone as skilled as Van. So it's easy to understand how new carvers can get discouraged when they're trying to make a few cuts with these cheap tools, just like they see others do on the internet with quality tools. So it's an interesting video from Van, and he does a great job of talking about his experience with the sharp quality tools versus those cheap tools. Go and take a look. Well, over at the Steve Hunter Woodcarving channel, Steve has got himself a piece of cottonwood bark that's 6 feet long. Yeah, that's a lot of bark. So he cuts off a couple of small pieces, and then he starts a carving tutorial. He's going to be carving a little owl, and he's using hand tools for this project. Now, Steve is going to take you through the step-by-step tutorial, And along the way, he talks about the cottonwood bark and how brittle it can be. It can make it challenging if you're trying to carve fine details into a smaller little piece like this little owl. So there are some challenges. And Steve does a really good job of adding commentary throughout this video. And he does a really nice job of shooting and editing his videos. I asked him about his setup. He told me he uses several GoPro cameras, and he's got different mounts that he uses. One of the things that you'll see in this video is while he's carving, he does a little inset with a video showing the carving that he's working on, kind of rotating on a turntable so you can get looks at all the different sides of it. It's a nice touch, and Steve, like I said, has some quality video. Go and check it out. Well, up next we'll visit with Legan Lippard. He lives in Cincinnati, Ohio, where he hosts his YouTube channel called Halfling Carvings. Now, Legan has 72 videos on his YouTube channel, and most of those are carving tutorials. He does a lot of figure carving. You'll also find some product review videos there as well, where he's reviewing some carving tools. Legan has a recent video where he's showing you how to carve a happy flower and a little stem that you carve separately and then attach it. This is a beginner-friendly video. It's about 20 minutes long altogether, and it's pretty good quality too. If you're looking for something that involves beginner-friendly, easy carving, this may be the one for you. Go and check it out. Oh, you know, a number of weeks ago we did a story about someone who's sharpening with coffee filters. Did you see that one? Well, if you've missed any of our previous episodes, just click right over here. We've got a whole list of our episodes and the content just like this, and you're going to enjoy. Thanks for being here, folks. We'll see you next week.